Do you have in your mind some deal breakers?
My wife should probably be like smart and considerate.
And covered head to toe in tattoos.
No
Covered
more
head to
than
toe.
6 missing teeth.
I think I very slightly dislike tattoos, but again, not a deal breaker.
One of the face tattoos is a clown. Robbie is a 30-year-old Harvard graduate and data scientist who has a $100,000 bounty on finding him a wife. As you watch this episode, keep in mind any women you might know who might be a good match for Robbie. That's a big investment to find a wife.
I would rather be happily married than win like $2 million in the lottery. So all these arguments about like who should pay on a date are stupid. Like it doesn't matter. You should both be like fighting each other to like, no, let me pay for it.
That's such a noble thing to do. I'm very impressed by that.
Green flag.
Giant green flag.
Mostly people are like, find it boring or uninteresting.
Who cares? They're not for you. They're for someone else. I think Tinder has like really messed with our perception of how we should be dating.
From what I've heard, most guys, their behavior on dating apps is they just like look at the first picture and swipe right if she's hot.
Excuse me, men, I need you to stop marrying dumb women and I need you to start marrying smart women because we need you to create smart babies.
Which rules out probably like a lot of people.
A lot of people. Robbie Rahman, it's amazing to have you on. If you have not been following along, Robbie is offering $100,000 to find him a wife. So get your directory out because you could win $100,000 to make this man happy. How are you doing
And
today,
you
Robbie?
can be the wife as well.
Or you could be the wife, and then you could just give us the money. That would be fine too. Or you could find him a wife and give us the money. That works perfectly fine. Any situation in which you give us the money, or you could just give us $100,000, whatever you want. It's up to you. How are you doing today, Robbie?
Good. You've got me thinking about Shapley values again. So like if a few different people help find me a wife, like how do I split up like the reward? Maybe just have to, I don't know, reward everyone. I don't know. I have to figure it out.
This is going to be like an inheritance, like when your aunt dies and then everyone goes crazy trying to get her best dishes. This is you should write up a contract beforehand because people are going to go nuts.
Oh yeah. So yeah. I've got the Keeper contract that Keeper uses. Happy to like sign a copy of that with anyone. But
Can you explain what Keeper is?
oh yeah. So they're a matchmaking agency. They their business model is that you sign up. It costs nothing up front. But if they introduce you to someone and you get married to them, you have to pay them some amount of money. I think on my contract it's $80,000, but I'm offering 100K. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's a big investment to find a wife.
I actually think it's a very small amount compared to like how much it's worth to achieve this. Like, I would rather be happily married than win like $2 million in the lottery. So this is like some small percentage of that.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I think I'm like, I don't know, just based on reading, I don't know, just hearing a lot of stories about other people's relationships, I think I'm a much better partner than average. So I think like if that's how much I would like to be married, I think my future wife is gonna like the benefit to her is like even more than that, I think. So like it's a large bounty, but I think it's like appropriate given just like how valuable this would be.
You heard it first, ladies. You heard it here first.
Well, I
Much-
think he's a catch.
Yeah. Well, you are quite a catch. Like your resume on paper, you look amazing. You're a Harvard graduate.
So this was a criticism I got when I showed this to Jacob Volkovich. So he was like, all right, let's look at your dating profile. And then he read it and he was like, all right, you're hired. I just read your resume, but this tells me nothing about like dating you.
That is exactly what we said on our last podcast.
Okay, yeah.
Like on paper, you look great. I mean, yeah, it has all your achievements, which is fantastic. I mean, it's good to have achievements, and it's good for women to know that you can do things and you have accomplished things in life. But I didn't really get a sense of who you are, or there was no spikiness. There was nothing like that you didn't want in a partner. But I guess that's maybe what Keeper does. Like it sounds like they wrote the profile for you.
Well, yeah, they're helpful with that, but yeah, maybe I should focus more on like, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know, filtering out people who are wrong or something, or Hmm, maybe it does a good job of like, if you like the sound of me from this profile, you would indeed like me in real life, but there's no good, well, I'm not sure. Like, there has to be some kind of like what I don't want, or like, if you don't like certain things, you would not be into me.
Are there deal breakers?
Mm.
Like, do you have in your mind some deal breakers?
I think I'm pretty normal with regards to that. I don't know, just like, um, are your audience like mostly rationalists?
Oh, we get
Yeah.
rationalists as well. There will probably be a lot of rationalists listening to this specifically, but we get
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm much more of a normie than most rats, but deal breakers. I don't think I have anything for strictly just like interested in cisgender women within 5 years of my age. Um,
how and you're 30, correct?
I'm 30, yeah, so like, yeah. I don't really have any specific deal breakers, but like I'm not very into drugs. Um, my wife should probably be like smart and considerate and whatnot, but yeah.
And covered head to toe in tattoos.
I
Definitely not
No
covered
more
head to
than
toe.
6 missing teeth.
right. So, so I think I very slightly dislike tattoos, but again, not a deal breaker.
Okay.
Like
Face
that's just
tattoos.
not
No,
important to me.
she's a Harvard grad. She's amazing. She has 6 face tattoos.
That'd be fine.
All
Well,
right.
I don't know. It would depend on. No, you haven't told me the important stuff like personality, but sure.
Yeah.
No, that's
Nice personality. She wants kids. One of the face tattoos is a clown.
guess I'm marrying a clown tattoo lady.
All right. You're
You
a
sound very
flexible
willing,
guy.
at
You're a
least.
willing guy. You're
I would say I'm open-minded.
yeah, good. I mean, I don't know how good it is really. Like, I wonder if you are from your profile. The impression that I got was that maybe you go with the flow a little too much, and I'm wondering if you actually show people, if you actually advocate for what you want and need in a relationship enough. Like, there's a difference between being chill and going with the flow and letting your and not addressing your own wants and needs.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure where the line is with you.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think a mistake I've made in the past is being like too much towards the latter. But yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I also don't know where the line is for that.
I think I want to talk about main character. There's this idea kind of in the rationality bubble of like being a strong agent, being the agent of your life, and like, are you the main character of your life?
Mhm.
And so in the context of trying to find a wife, is she going to be the main character or are you going to be the main character? And like, how are you going to balance
Mhm.
main character in this? Like, what are you looking for? Because obviously relationships come in all shapes and sizes. You can choose to be the main character and look for an assistant, or you can choose to have her be the main
Yeah.
character and you can be the support.
Yeah, great question. I think my ideal split is like, in terms of, well, I don't know. Okay, the range of nice splits on this includes like me 49%, her 51% main character. Let's see. I think maybe like my ideal wife would be like, I don't know, some EA person. Just I think the characteristics that effective altruists have are like very appealing to me. But also, I don't know, like my ex-girlfriend was not an EA, but I have my EA job and then she can do her thing.
Do you want kids? How many kids roughly? Nope, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, it's not that I'm not sure. I prefer kids. I think it's not like the most important thing. Like if I met my soulmate, but she didn't want kids, I guess maybe I would not. But how many? I don't know. I really like kids. 2 or 3 sounds good.
Kids are very important. Whether or not you want kids are very important, and I'm finding it hard to believe that
Yeah.
you would genuinely be, and maybe you would, but I'm finding it hard to believe that you would genuinely be happy in a relationship where she just decides no kids. And I mean, children are like a soul's journey. It's a calling in life. And you would just be happy being like, okay, no kids. I mean, there would be no resentment there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so yeah, so I saw this thread on the child free subreddit, which is like subreddit where people complain about like their parents are constantly nagging them like, hey, when am I getting grandkids? This lady had a conversation with her mom, and the mom, no, the person told her mom like, no, I've decided I don't want kids, and the mom was like shocked, like, oh my god, that's crazy. What will you do if you meet your soulmate or the perfect person for you, but he wants kids? And then her response is, well, if he wants kids, he's not the right person for me. This is not my reaction. I think if I met my soulmate and we were perfect for each other in every other way except she doesn't want kids, I think I would compromise on that. But no, I like kids very much. I think I would be a great parent. That's my preference.
I want to come out of this interview with one real deal breaker, and it's not like she uses meth every day. It has to be something.
Doesn't have to be right now.
It has to be like something that. It has to be she can't. I don't like cats, and so she can't have a cat. It needs to be something that a lot of people.
No, I don't have anything like that. I can give you like must be smart, which rules out probably like a lot of people.
A lot of people. Yeah.
I think when I say smart, like I think an average person would say that and mean just like slightly smarter than average, but I think the bubble I'm in, like the bar is
yeah, I know. I mean, I know what you're talking about. Like it's hard to give IQ estimates, right? It's hard to like measure, I don't know. But I don't personally pair people up with people who are significantly dumber than them. I really when I matchmake, I only try to matchmake for similar IQ levels. Because
yeah.
I don't think it works if you have a giant difference in IQ. Like there's one person who's always trying to talk about ideas, and then the other person is like watching reality TV shows, and it's not a good match. So IQ,
yeah, okay. Okay, I'll give you a deal breaker. Like, I don't know. Okay, if she's otherwise smart and then watches reality TV shows, that's fine. But like the sort of person who watches reality TV shows, I'm usually not into. And I don't think they would.
No, that's very reasonable. That's like people can self-sort if they're like I think there's a guilty pleasure sometimes. I've heard some very smart people indulging their guilty pleasure of reality TV.
I can think of a single smart friend that I have who watches reality TV shows.
But
there aren't a lot on the regular, but there aren't a lot. I don't have a lot of friends who are. I think all my friends are really smart. I don't know.
One guy who watches Survivor, but he's very into the like strategy of it and like the like game theory, like, oh, in this round you should eliminate the like strongest competitor so they won't knock you out. Or in this round you should eliminate the weak people so your team will be stronger, but then you have to betray them.
Yeah, I think I used to be a lot more against reality TV and daytime soap operas until I realized that people were doing emotional learning from them. There is something to it where you're learning emotional skills or like emotional loops if you're watching them in a certain way. And then I like gained more respect for them, but in general I still don't watch them.
We have a friend who was raised in a fairly I don't know if she's autistic, but she was raised in a household I think where feelings and emotions were often repressed, and she said she spent a lot of time watching the Kardashians and writing down, note-taking on the emotional responses that people had and the social interactions that people had, and she studied it.
Systematized.
Systematized, studied, and I think it really worked for her. I think it genuinely helped her. I don't know, I think I've seen half an episode of the Kardashians once. I can't tell you what she learned, but she said it helped her a lot. So I can see exceptions. I don't think that they are the norm.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, actually. I've never seen the Kardashian show, but that's smart.
Yeah, they're successful people.
Yeah, you never know. Like, I have a friend who went back and watched all of the Daria, the old cartoon.
I like Daria.
And from like a more adult perspective, it's a really interesting show because it's everyone in the show, all the characters except for Daria are trying to pretend to be more important or be someone. and she's just boring. And that's why it's an interesting show, because all this drama is generated by people trying too hard in high school. Anyway, that's like there's actually emotional intelligence information in some of these otherwise not seen in shows.
I would love to hear about your childhood.
Ooh.
Oh, I don't think there's anything interesting there.
No, nothing at all. 18 years, nothing interesting. You got into Harvard and there's nothing interesting there. Your parents are totally normal.
They're divorced, but like, no, I have a normal American childhood.
Do you have siblings? You have a brother.
I do. I have a younger brother.
You have a younger
Pardon?
brother. It said that in the profile.
Yeah. And he's much more of a normie than I am. He has just like a non-EA corporate job, has a girlfriend, I don't know, goes skiing or whatever normal people do. Uses Instagram.
I'm going to give you my immediate reaction to what you're saying, and I don't like. I'm hoping you don't take it wrong, but I'm giving you like, I'm not framing this as a judgment. I'm framing it this is my honest emotional response to you, and hopefully in a way that you can
Adapt.
I mean, adapt or just take it as information, like, because most of the time people don't give us honest emotional responses. When I've noticed a couple times that it seems like you downplay things in your life as if and try to make yourself seem normal or average and not stand out, and it frustrates me. Like, I get kind of annoyed with you. Not with it, just I get annoyed with the situation, and I want to see some exceptionalism, and I want to hear stories of your life, and I want to hear some like real you. And it seems like you're just trying to shrink yourself into like the most. It seems like you're trying to cast the widest net for as many people as possible.
That might be true at other times. I'm not doing it with the childhood. I don't think there's the.
What was your favorite year in high school? Like your favorite grade?
Favorite year in high school? 12th grade. So I went to a very I went to an interesting high school. I can tell you some fun stories about that, but yeah, okay, sure, why not? So I didn't go to a high school. I went to a secondary school. So it was it's like in America they have like separate elementary, which is like primary school, middle school, and high school. I went to a secondary school, which is like grades 6 through 12 together. And it was very small, like very few students per year. So I think a normal American high school has like 500 or 1,000 kids graduating each year. Mine was like 70. So we were with the same like 70 people for like 7 years. So we knew each other really well by the end. And it was also weird in that my high school was founded by hippies who like, really internalized the ideals of the 1960s. So the school was weird in a number of ways. For example, like class attendance used to be optional. We called the teachers by their first name instead of like.
If you smoked weed, you had to share it with the teacher.
Well, by the 2010s, the students weren't doing. I wasn't doing weed in high school. Anyway, the relevant bit to the story was so the student government was the school government. So it was like one person, one vote. So if they had a student government meeting and 10 teachers and 11 kids showed up, and the kids all voted for one thing and the teachers voted for the other thing, the kids would overrule the teachers. It mostly worked out fine. The government, like student government, was pretty boring. This was like one of my extracurricular activities in high school, but it was kind of a nerd thing to do. Usually nothing crazy happened. Because it's boring. It was just like, I don't know, budget stuff. But they could like, maybe the most interesting thing was like one time the students fired a teacher who was bad, but like she was really bad. She would have been fired anyway. But okay, so one time I think I was like near the end of school, so like 11th or 12th grade. Usually the meetings are like uneventful. It was like a free period, so you could just like, I don't know, go do whatever you want, like study or play games or something. So no one would ever come to the student government meeting. But all the 6th grade boys showed up. and just like giggling for some reason. They were clearly up to no good. So they put a motion on the docket to abolish gender segregated bathrooms, and this was not like some like woke inclusivity thing. This was like, we sixth grade boys are going to go in the girls' bathroom. So they put this motion on the agenda, and they all voted for it. And since there were more sixth grade boys than everyone else, it passed. So the school abolished gender segregated bathrooms. Um, this ends not how you expect. So a week later, they all came back and undid this motion they enacted the previous week.
We flew too close to the sun. What have we done?
So the reason was apparently sixth grade girls really enjoy standing around in a circle and gossiping and chatting on their cell phones right next to the boys' urinals. So the boys were very uncomfortable with this. They're like, please no more.
Amazing.
You know what?
So that was my weird high school.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I think my childhood was
What
very
was
normal.
what was their cultural background?
Cultural background? My grandparents are from Bangladesh, so I guess they're like ancestrally Muslim, but my parents are like not religious.
So you know no religion, and so so you're fine with a girl of any religion. I mean, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, as long as she doesn't expect me to be like
Practicing.
believing in God
fair enough.
or whatever it is religious people
So like
do.
a mildly, if not atheist girl, like not taking it too seriously. It sounds like that's a double-edged sword though, because sometimes people are like kind of halfway in a religion and then they have kids and then they're like, oh shit, this is important. I need my kid to be raised with a religion. It's tough.
I think I would be okay taking kids to church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's good. Good.
Not. I think I definitely would. I would take the kids to church if that's
Yeah,
what it
good to
takes.
know. Okay, cool.
I feel like having heard this story of your high school, I feel like I know you better. And I know this story of high school wasn't even about you. You didn't even feature. You just kind of knew.
Well, I featured in that like you would never notice this unless you go to this weird school, and you would never be there for the sixth grade boy shenanigans unless you're like the nerd who like goes to the student government every week, which like most students don't do, but I did. So then I got to see this.
It also showcases your storytelling abilities. That was a funny story.
It was cute.
It was nice. Yeah. It's your
character. It's your character.
It's like, and it's what you find funny. So it's, I mean, there's so many layers to a story that you like. It's nice. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you told that story. How did you get into Harvard? I mean, I assume that you would have to have been studying constantly to achieve that.
No, I had a very boring job that I did not like after college, and I like always wanted to quit, but I kind of never. I was doing something else. I was working at a civil engineering company, and like to be an engineer, there's like this whole difficult exam you have to take with like all sorts of like engineering physics and complicated math. And then the company I worked at, we just like never used it. It was just like regulatory. They kind of consulted for the government or construction companies where like there were these like architectural or environmental regulations you had to check off, and so we like send an inspector to some construction site and they would like check these boxes. And then my job was just like compiling these reports and then like passing them on to someone else to just like check some boxes basically. So this was really boring. So I wanted to quit and like do a more interesting job. There was a construction project we had, which was like a high-rise skyscraper. So they, for tall buildings that are like with large floors, the concrete on each floor will sag because it's very heavy. So they put these steel cables in them, and then they have to put tension in the cable to like pull on the ends to stop it from sagging, so that the floor will be flat. So we had this. So our contract was to like send an inspector to the construction site and measure the tension in this cable, and then ensure it was within like some tolerance so that the floor would be like within some amount of flat. And the way my company did this was like they would do these calculations just like take these hundreds of measurements of the cables on every floor. They would do it with like a scientific calculator, or like at some point I got them to use Excel, and it was like much faster, but it was still like wasting a huge amount of time. At one point I thought, this is stupid. I'm just gonna like import the CSV into Python and do it in like 5 minutes, and just like go home early. And I decided like, okay, data science is much more fun than this job. I'm going to go to grad school and become a data scientist. But it was the pandemic, so yeah, I was like taking online classes. Harvard has something called Harvard Extension School, which is where they like record their lessons that they have in person and put them online, and you can take it as an online class. So that's what I did. And then, yeah, I went there in person after everything reopened. I was also very into effective altruism while in grad school. So like I was social chair for the Harvard EA Club, which was very fun. That was like a really big club. It's really popular there. We had like hundreds of people in the club. So we had like, I don't know, fun events all the time. We'd run a lot of like EA parties, get to talk about X-Risk all the time, give people copies of interesting books. Yeah, and then got an EA job after. 80,000 hours helped a little bit, but yeah.
One sec. Did you get your degree from Harvard or Harvard Extension School?
From Harvard.
Oh, from Harvard. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
How did you go from Harvard Extension School to Harvard?
You have to apply.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. They just see your grades and then just kind of let you in.
I think it helped that I had already like done some of the same classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Sounds good. Yeah. So what do you do in EA?
I work at Epoch. We do AI forecasting. We're trying to basically like predict timelines to AGI. This is really important for EA. Like OpenPhil relies on this. So there are different like AI safety projects you would want to do if you have like 5 years or 40 years or like 6 months until the apocalypse. So they like seeing our reports and different things.
What is your timeline?
Oh, what are my AI timelines?
This is an important dating question in the rationalist community.
This is the most.
Yeah. I saw this funny tweet lately. It's by Lucy Farnick. She said, she wrote, if you're ever in a rationalist conversation and you've kind of spaced out and forgotten what people are talking about, but you want to say something and sound smart, here are some things you can say. And one of them is like, just you can insert this at any point in any conversation. Just say, but does this make sense in light of AGI timelines? So I have seriously questioned this. I don't have an answer yet, but yeah, I don't know. Should I be approaching this differently? I'm not sure.
As in approaching the whole dating marriage thing differently in light of AI timelines.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not that worried about, like, you're allowed to have a nice life if AGI is or isn't coming. You're allowed to find a life, and you're allowed to have do those.
This is true. I don't know. What would the action be like if AGI timelines are really short? Should you like lower your standards? Should you like just give up on dating? And because like dating is work up front, but then you get to meet someone, and then you like have in best case you like live happily ever after. If timelines are really short, then you don't get most of the benefit of like living with someone for a long time.
Yeah, but you don't know if timelines are actually really short.
You also don't know if the timeline.
No. Well, I just hypothetically, if timelines are short. So like maybe they suggest you should like give up entirely and just like go travel the world or something. I don't know. I haven't done anything like that. I'm still behaving as if we're not about to get paper clipped, but who knows?
I think that's the most logical way to behave, as long as you're not.
Oh, I actually think it might not be the most logical way to behave, but it's like, I don't know. What are you going to do?
Are you... Wait, so have you traveled the world at all? Or...
I like traveling. We go on work trips occasionally. I definitely travel less than I would if it weren't for dating. Like I think it's bad to be out of town too much. Like if you go on a nice first date with someone, but then you have a trip the next week, and then you're back 2 weeks later. Um, Often they've like kind of forgotten about you a bit. So I think it's better to not be out of town too much.
Where do you live?
I live in New York City.
And what is your policy on you relocating? Like, where else would you live in the world?
I'm fine with living anywhere my wife wants to live.
Beirut. She wants to live in Beirut.
Yeah, I this is gonna annoy you again. Um, I would rather live in Antarctica with my wife than the best place on earth with all my friends, but be single.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. So just wherever she wants to, yeah.
Let me just
Beirut sounds like a bad idea. I don't think I don't think
Where-
my wife will want to live there, but if she does, okay, we'll see about that.
So you live in New York. Where do your parents live? Just
DC.
Okay.
Do you need a good internet connection where you want to live?
That's a device.
Ooh, I'm actually not sure how essential that is. So, I think a lot of my work can be done, like I can do some coding and write up a report and then like log onto the internet once a day. Yeah, an internet connection is probably important, but I think it's not the most essential thing to be online all the time. Um, Living somewhere without internet might be good. You can more easily cut out Twitter and all the distractions.
Honestly, it would probably be amazing for your mental health. I half wish that I could live somewhere without internet. There's that internet free zone in somewhere in the US, and I fantasize about going there sometimes. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good to know. Because I mean, there are some girls who want to live on a farm, and want a guy who's interested in that. So you're open to that.
I'd be fine with living on a farm. I don't think my comparative advantage is farming. I think it would be bad to have me be a farmer. Yeah, I would probably, I don't know, get a satellite internet connection and like, I don't know, type away for 8 hours and then go join her on the farm in the evening.
Yeah. You're not a. Yeah, farms require a lot of physical work. There's a lot of physical labor that goes into
Do
farming.
manual labor, but it seems like a waste. Although, if AI replaces knowledge workers, then I guess I'm going to be a farmer.
You're only good for manual labor if there's no knowledge work left to do.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Would you? Is there? So one of the benefits of a farm is that you can raise kids in a large open space. Is there an ideal environment in your mind for raising kids? Would you send them to the same school that you went to?
Ooh, that's a great question. Yeah, I think that would be nice. I'm not like set on it. I'm like a bit nostalgic for DC. Like every time I go back, I like see all the landmarks, and I'm like, oh, I could bring my kids to the Washington Monument and point out the aluminum block on the top or something, whatever. I don't know. No, I think a lot of places are good for kids to grow up.
Do you have a policy on child rearing?
Parenting philosophy.
Yeah, I think I would be a great parent. I would want to. Okay, I see a lot of horror stories of like women complain like, um, "Oh, we had kids, but now my husband doesn't help with them at all. I'm so sick of him. Should I get a divorce?" Uh, like that would never happen with me. I would just like be playing with the kids all the time. Yeah, I'm happy to do like half of the all the work.
Yep.
What is your favorite dish to cook?
Favorite dish to cook? It changes a lot. So, like, whatever recipe I've learned most recently, I kind of go through a phase where I'll make it every few weeks.
Hmm.
Um, Sushi. Um, yeah, some recipes I really like. What have I made recently? Um, Moussaka, spicy tuna, crispy rice. Anything else recently? Shakshuka. Yeah, varies. I like international food.
Do you have a spiritual life? Are you looking for a girl who's into any sort of spirituality?
Not really.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, I guess interesting thing that's happened to me lately. I donated $500 to an EA fundraiser by I don't know, there's some young EA people who have this like EA Twitter fundraiser. They're like terminally online. They like spend too much time on Twitter. And one of the incentives they had for donating was if they raise over $15,000, um, they'll put on a podcast episode of Hot Ones, but vegan. So I donated right before this. They went over this threshold, and I'll be on their podcast episode. Um, I have. I think I've eaten too much spicy food over the past few years. Like I can no longer taste spice below like I don't know 50,000 Scovilles, which is kind of bad. Like if I'm craving spicy food, I just like can't find it anywhere because most food is bland. But we'll see. We'll see how this episode goes.
When do you film it?
I don't know. Within a month.
Amazing. Why are they choosing you to interview?
I'm friends with them. I donated $500, which was like unexpectedly much money. I think most of the donations were very small, but it's like it's a good cause. It's for like animal welfare, and I wanted their fundraiser to succeed.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good.
Does your wife need to know how to cook spicy things? Obviously, she does.
No, I can do the cooking. I mean,
Okay, that's a good answer.
yeah, I'm great at cooking. She doesn't have to know. We all have our own strengths and weaknesses. And I mean I've got a bag of powdered dried ghost pepper that I sprinkle on stuff. So it can be a condiment. It doesn't have to be in the recipe.
You're ready. You're ready for this. You're ready for hot ones. Hot ones. I'm projecting my own relationship preferences onto you right now, and so there we go with the mic. And I'm not saying this has to be for everyone for sure. And most people don't agree with me, so it's fine. But they're all wrong, which is the problem with them. But I just think that women unconsciously mostly value some sort of leadership in their man. And I know there's a huge narratives that say we don't, but I don't see that reflected in real life. And maybe you don't think that's true, and so it's possible that that's just not something you're going for. But I don't. I would love to see some sort of direction that you're heading. Like what I say to guys oftentimes when they're struggling with women is, you need to tell a woman that you're dating is on the first, second, third date, this is where I'm heading. This is the train, and if you want to get on for the ride, hop on. And if you don't want to get on the ride, get off, because this is my direction. And I don't know. I think you might have that, but I don't see that in you.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think I should edit my dating doc in a way that makes that clear. Yeah, I'm not sure if I say that. I definitely don't say it explicitly in real life, but I'm not sure if it's like clear or not.
What is the direction? Where are you headed?
Nice, happy family with kids, save the world.
Save the world. What does that mean?
Well, effective altruism. So I'm gonna figure out the AI timelines, and then hopefully someone will solve alignment in whatever amount of time we have, and then the world will be great.
Yeah,
That's the direction.
It's a direction for sure. Like,
also, fund the bed nets so that people don't die of malaria.
Yeah, fund the bed nets. Yeah,
right.
I hear you. I'm not impassioned by it. I wish I was. I wish I was like. I wish what you were saying brought a tear to my eye, and it's not. But maybe other people are. I don't. I think you are inspired and interested in this, but I don't see it coming. I don't see it resonating from your body in passion, which is maybe you just aren't a particularly passionate person. Yeah.
I think often am, but this is just like so ingrained into my life. Or like I've been doing it for so long that it, and like I'm talking to you who like you guys know what rationality and effective altruism are. I'm not like explaining it from first principles. Um, yeah, it's just like really important to do for reasons that have been, I don't know, hashed out a million times. Um, yeah, I've gotten mixed responses to explaining effective altruism on dates. Mostly people are like, find it boring or uninteresting. Um, one time someone said like, "Oh my God, that's so like sweet and touching." But sadly, that's not a common response.
It doesn't need to be a common response. You only need one wife. You're not looking for all the women. Like it doesn't. It just it's you're just weeding out the ones who aren't appropriate, which is just like what you should be doing anyway.
Sufficient.
So who cares? They're not for you. They're for someone else.
That's right. Although I should definitely like, if I do tell people about this, I should tell it in, the most compelling way.
For sure. And that is yeah, the most compelling way while also being honest is always a good way to go because you might inspire them and but it sounds like you might be in grind mode. Like you're not, passion fades out sometimes and you just have to keep working if you're
Grind mode about dating or grind mode about EA? I don't think I've been grind mode about EA. The conferences are very fun. All my friends are effective altruists, but I'm trying to, reduce that. I'm trying to like, meet normal people, and not have all my friends be rats.
yeah, cool. Um do you have an idea about like whether you would prefer your wife to be working full time, putting kids in daycare, or staying home, or some combination of the two?
All of those sound good. I don't think that's like, yeah, any of those options would be fine. Am I being annoying again by not having a preference?
What I'm hearing is you haven't thought about it, and that's fine.
No, 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 no. That is far from true. No, any of these options would be fine. Um, Trad wife, corporate boss lady, great.
Yeah, I think I'm just I'm like I'm sitting here, I'm kind of usually I have questions to ask, but it sounds like you're so okay with everything that isn't really a question to ask. Like you're just fine with any sort of woman, any sort of lifestyle. Like I think there's a lot of tension and sexiness in being divisive. Like that's why on Tinder, yeah,
So I think, from what I've heard, most guys, their behavior on dating apps is they just like look at the first picture and swipe right if she's hot, and then like, yeah. Um, for me, what I'm mostly looking at, well, school a bit, but occupation. So like, yeah, I'm filtering in a way like related to what you said about reality TV, but like, um, looking for someone who's like in an occupation that attracts smart people. So like lawyer good, hairstylist bad, if that makes sense.
yeah. So intelligence for sure. That's great. No dum dums for Robbie. So any dum dums out there listening to this podcast, not for you. That's good. That's really good.
I want to like reframe that a little bit too. If you're thinking, "Am I smart enough?" Keep asking that question,
Yeah.
and you might qualify if you keep asking that question. But if you're not asking that question, like you don't belong here.
Well, I don't. Okay, well, what if she's just like really, really smart and she knows she's smart enough?
Yeah, she might just. I mean, if you're very smart, it's kind of obvious. Like, it's fairly obvious if you're smart. I don't think you're looking for the top astrophysicist in her field. Like, I think if she's smarter than
That would be great. But
that would be great. Yeah, that's true. Okay, cool. I think you kind of. I mean, you kind of know when you're smarter than most people you talk to.
I am still finding out.
We're in a bubble. We're also in a like in a smart bubble.
We live in a bubble.
So it's really hard to like there are a lot of people that we don't talk to very much.
I'm an average smart person, and then I meet people and I'm like, I am 3 standard deviations above average smart person or something. I'm like, oh no, the average person is just not very smart. And we share a world.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, this person has trouble reading. I am on a different, I cannot imagine having trouble reading instructions. Like that is a different life.
Oh,
But
following
the-
instructions. Oh yeah, I got lots of friends who don't follow instructions.
follow
but
but reading, understanding. Like it's a different. I can't imagine living. I just can't imagine being in that world. It's a very different world. Yeah. Okay. Do you like a girl who reads a lot of books?
Yeah, that'd be great. I like books.
Where are you going to find girls right now?
Dating apps. Plus, I'm trying to like, I don't know, take up hobbies that are more gender balanced than rationality. So I'll be going to like a philosophy discussion night tomorrow, and there's a Sherlock Holmes party in favor of in honor of the like 171st birthday of Sherlock Holmes. And let's see what else. Yeah. I host brunch at my apartment often, but it's mostly rats that come to that. But I've been trying to invite other people to it. I joined a choir that's pretty diverse. Just random Brooklyn people. Good gender ratio. I'll be going to like some book clubs in the near future.
Brooklyn. How many of them have blue hair though?
Ooh, surprisingly zero. Zero out of 100 people in this choir, I think 0 have blue hair.
Brooklyn is, as far as I know, is the San Francisco of New York. It's
That's right.
Yeah.
There might be one person who's like, her hair isn't blue, but you're thinking of her.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She carries the hatred of all men in her being, and it oozes off of her. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna not
Robbie's
comment.
I want the mean
Yeah,
Robbie.
but he's not
Well,
divided.
there's no I have no indication that she hates men. Like she doesn't shave the things that like, you know, women in Western society are pressured into like shaving all of their hair, and this girl doesn't do that.
Yeah. Sure.
But like, I don't know, you can't just assume she hates men.
Yeah. I mean, it's a point towards the man hating category, but it doesn't mean she hates men.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you
Right.
might talk to her.
No, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an energy thing for sure. You have to go up and talk to her, and if she acts like you're below her,
I have never done that, but
you do not have to go up and talk to her. That is not that is not something you have to do. Do you approach women a lot?
Not really. A bit. Do I? No.
Cool. Yeah. Good to know.
Or like at the choir rehearsals every week, it's like 2 hours. It's like 2 hours long, but there's like a 15 or 20-minute break in the middle, and I go around to talk to people.
Yeah, right.
I've made like, female friends.
Made any female enemies in the choir?
I don't think I have enemies. As you've noticed, I'm too unobjectionable.
Mm. Would you ever consider like a martial art, like doing jujitsu?
Sure. Yeah, if there's a martial art that is mostly women, let me know and I'll do it. But like this seems less promising than yoga.
No, it's not about meeting women. It's about because there generally a handful of women in any jiu-jitsu club, but like in any jiu-jitsu night, but it's more about leaning into the masculine. Like it's more about the physical.
He's got fitness stuff.
No, he's got fit, but fitness isn't the same. Fitness is adjacent to that, but like if you gain a confidence and
right, I need to become confident and beat people up, and then I will be masculine, and then women will love me. Right? No, I know, but
no, I mean, it's just like okay. So why I said that was I'm being harsh, but why I said that was like I think women are evolved for certain roles and men are evolved for certain roles. And that's not to say those roles are reflected in society a lot right now, but I think our brains are wired to you have sex with a man and then you might get pregnant from him. And so first of all, sex is very risky. So you don't just have sex with anyone. And then you have a kid, a baby who's an infant, and you're essentially taking care of an infant full time. You're the one breastfeeding. Like there's no one else. So maybe you have a friend who can be a wet nurse, but it's not, you don't get a lot of time by yourself, and you certainly can't protect yourself. And so you're looking for a guy. It's nice to have a guy who you feel can protect you, who has a protective streak about him, or who can, like, it's not a bad thing if he knows how to fight. It won't be like, and like, you know, you don't want a bunch of brain damage, but that's why I said jujitsu, because there's not a lot of brain damage in jujitsu.
Right. So I think this is a good point, but I have limited time, and I think,
I want you to disagree with me on something. You have agreed with me on everything so far.
well, no, I mean, jujitsu, good idea, but I mean, like, I go to the climbing gym, that takes up some time, that, you know, you get strong and buff. I think there's like diminishing marginal utility from like stacking on the male hobbies. I've done like, maybe, I suspect I'm doing about the right amount of that, and I need to do more of the like, go to spaces that are not like 90% men.
I agree. And yoga is great and all that stuff. It's good. You're doing male hobbies. You're not doing masculine hobbies, though. I mean, like, rationalists are not typically masculine people.
Trains are a male hobby, but they're not a masculine hobby.
Like, they're kind of, it's kind of a lower testosterone, or like, you know, testosterone, and its hormones are very complicated, but like the shorthand version would be like, it's a kind of a lower T male hobby, which is great. I'm glad rationalists exist. They're fantastic people. Sometimes they're weird, but
hey,
like, I
those
think
are all my friends that are weird.
all of my friends,
All of my friends.
the Autism Society. But like, I think I think you would do good by being around masculine men and kind of gathering that. It's kind of a spiritual endeavor as well. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I hear you. You have limited time. You can't do everything in life. You need to focusing on finding a wife is a great idea, like, for sure.
Just to check with Robbie, levels of femininity. Like, how feminine do you want your potential future wife to be? To just like anything, or like more feminine? That's
like anything. I think average femininity is good. Yeah, I think average plus or minus 1 or 2 standard deviations would be good. Outside of that, I don't know. I would have to meet such a person.
Yeah.
I feel like outside of that is incredibly neutral, androgynous, and like.
No, it's like a bulldog, and then a Barbie.
No, like if you keep going further out,
yeah,
you get to Barbie and bulldog.
Yeah. Okay, no Barbies, no bulldogs. That's cool. That's good. That's a good thing to know.
Well, I don't know if I haven't ruled them out, but yeah.
Please rule them out. Rule something out.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say before, on Tinder, like, a lot of guys say no pineapple on pizza. They'll say something like that because they're trying to create a rift. Like, you know, pineapple doesn't belong on pizza. I love pineapple on pizza, whatever it is. And it starts this little mini argument between people that's funny and it's fun to have, and it's low cost, it's low stakes. And like, I just want to see more of that from you. But maybe that's not going to come, and that's okay. Maybe there's probably a woman who just doesn't want any of that. And that's just like, I'm just stating my own preferences. And maybe there's a woman who's like, I never want to fight. I always want to get along. So maybe you're just perfect for someone, I'm sure.
I think that might be the case. Yeah.
What do you think your shadow is?
My shadow is?
Yeah.
Do you know what a lot of people don't know what a shadow is?
Okay. In psychological personal development circles, there's this idea of shadow, and there's a few forms of shadow, but sometimes described as the parts of us that we hide, that we put away, and that like kind of sneak out. So you might see someone who really likes being in control, but knows that being controlling is bad. They just turn into like an organizer, and they organize lots of things. And then if something goes wrong, it comes out as like controlling. Like, you actually see the controlling come out because something's gone wrong, and they're kind of triggered and frustrated. And so the controlling nature comes out at the like under pressure. But generally, they're just mostly doing that organizing thing in a good way, and then suddenly like this extra bit comes out. Another way to think about it is maybe that bright lights cast dark shadows. And so if you're really, really good at something, there's probably casting a shadow somewhere. And so I'm curious if you have a sense of like, where might you find your shadow?
I want to give a couple of other examples, if that's okay, just to like clarify a little bit. I would say it's just things that we repressed in us. So like, that we're not aware of. That's specifically like, we're not aware of, or we're only partially aware of, which is why it's kind of hard to ask what your shadow is, but it's a good question to think about because let's say there's like a politician or like some famous person you hate, right? I think Trump was this for a lot of people. But like Biden is this for other people, but like just go for Trump because he's so easy. I think a lot of people who really viscerally hated Trump and he was the devil and he was the worst person ever. I think that there might, like, some of them probably have a shadow of like, he kind of to me represents this really shallow Western ideals of richness and wealth and power. And I think some people inside them feel very powerless. And so it's easy to like, if you find yourself like hating a person and thinking they're the devil, oftentimes that's because you
couldn't
personally
just enjoy the things they enjoy. You couldn't just,
or like you personally feel like there's something lacking. Like you don't have the confidence that he has in yourself. Like you're very low confidence, or you feel very powerless and unable to, like, non-agentic or something like that. And yeah, I think you can find shadow, I think, in a lot of times in what you really hate. But there's other types of shadow, but we don't know.
Shadow in the out group.
Yeah, in the out group for sure. Do you have an idea of where your shadow might be?
Okay, great. So
To add to this, it's good to know your shadow because then you can work on it and grow from knowing it. It's not all like, therefore you're a bad person because you have shadow. It's more like, then it's workable.
Okay, sorry, go on.
So this last version of the question, like what I'm unaware of, that's hard. I think by definition, I sort of wouldn't be aware of it. I would have to think about this for a while. I can answer the like minus that last part. So answering how Elliot described it earlier. I can give like a neutral and a negative. Okay, so a thing that I've kind of suppressed, but is like very me and comes out if you get to know me more. I'm like very nerdy. I like don't have this is like frowned upon by society, so I don't know, don't act too nerdy in polite society, but I don't know, I'll get really into a board game or obscure topic or something. Maybe a more negative one. I'm a procrastinator. So like, I don't know, if you ask people at EA conferences, they'll probably say like, I seem so like high functioning and like always get lots of stuff done. But like if there's no deadline or like no one else depends on me doing something, I'll just like, I don't know, it'd be like a coin toss if I'll ever get around to it. I have like, I would like to say I write a blog. More realistically, I have like 20 drafts of blog posts that I have like very long detailed ideas about. And I've like written half of it and then just shelved it in drafts and then like gotten distracted by like the next thing I want to write about and then never publish any of them. Yeah, but my shadow that I am not aware of, that's a really hard question kind of by its nature, because I'm not aware of what I'm not aware of.
Why don't you showcase how nerdy you are?
I don't think that's a good strategy for life. I think I was like that as a kid, and society does not like that.
Society, like, okay. I mean,
other people.
Your school didn't like that. I mean, that's a rule that you can give. But like,
it was weird. I think it was. I don't know. I had nerdy friends that I liked at I don't know, every stage of education, but whatever.
I mean, you say society doesn't like that. I know a girl, unfortunately not a match for you, but she's actively looking for a guy who plays D&D and who's really into D&D. And like, maybe you're not into D&D, but like there's a girl out there who's really looking for a guy who wants to play board games with her on Sundays. And if you're not showcasing that in some way, like,
I think maybe what I'm thinking of is like more nerdy than that. Like board games, sure. Yeah, I tell everyone I'm into board games. But I don't know, my hobby is like, this isn't true. It's not a hobby and I don't do it that much. But like in grad school, I would just like hang out at the EA house and just like, I don't know, debate some obscure like, what are the implications of like astronomical waste on what we should do in terms of cause prioritization? Just like
I like that. That's great.
I think this is
Amazing.
Please.
I do too. It's like really interesting, but
No,
this is like off-putting to normies. Like most people who hear this will be like, "What the fuck? I
What?
don't get it."
Yes.
you don't want yes, exactly. That's the point. That's the point. You don't want most people. You want the girl
Who
who's
goes
looking
like,
for a
say
guy.
more. You know, she's like, what? Tell me more.
The high men date down in IQ oftentimes, across and down, not too far down, but across and down. Women date across and up, and so she is looking for a guy who is smarter than her. How does she find a guy who is smarter than her other than I need a guy who's debating astronomical fucking waste? So I don't know exactly what you said, but like he needs to hang out and have lively debates and have good debating skills, and that's what she's looking for. She's searching for you, but you're not showing her who you are.
Sometimes I do, not at choir, but you know, I don't tell them about how like you know, actually most of the universe, if there's no life out there, just like there could be so much more happiness if we populated the galaxy, but there's a trade-off of like should we launch the spaceships now or should we wait 100 years, research faster spaceships, and then like send them, like just be like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I want the wife who will talk about this with me, but
Then why aren't you talking to girls about this? If she's not interested, then you change the topic. You have social skills. You can figure that out. But like,
that's true. Maybe I should just, you know, AGI timelines are short. I should just I should front load the weirdness. just
and you have social skills. You don't need it. You can just be friends with the other girls. But you know, one girl in the choir is going to be like, I have this girlfriend who doesn't shut up about fucking AGI timelines. And I don't know what they are, but you just mentioned AGI timelines.
I will make friends with them, and they will introduce me to their weird AGI pilled friends.
Yeah, but
exactly.
you need to show who you are. You need to show them, like, because they're just going to be like, oh, my girlfriend is looking for exactly the weirdo that you are. I was introduced to Elliot by a friend because I don't wear shoes, and Elliot doesn't wear shoes. But if I had put on shoes because of society, then I would have never met Elliot. It was perfect. It was the match.
This is a shockingly compelling argument. This is like I'm seriously persuaded by the shoes anecdote.
It is the what introduced us.
Yep. That was the first thing he said. You have to meet this guy. He doesn't wear shoes. I was like, I'm done. I'm in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we met and we didn't need, like, we hit it off. It was
Yeah.
okay. And then we kept talking and grew from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the divisiveness, the nerdiness that is you, I would love to see more of it popping out in places. Have stupid opinions. You know how, like, you're on Twitter and you see all of these people having loud opinions? They're who you're paying attention to because they're putting their thing out there. You got to put yours out there a bit more so that people can pay attention to you.
And be honest, but I don't think you're going to be dishonest about your opinions if you put them out. I think you're just maybe not saying the honest opinions. But like, I think some people on Twitter oftentimes say like I don't think this was Elliot's referring to, but they're doing an extreme version of an opinion to get clicks. And obviously that's a bad, like, it's just a dishonest move. And I think it's a bad idea, but like, you probably have some pretty out there ideas that you genuinely believe and people should hear more of, and like put them out there, you know, or yeah, just if you're like, even if it's not directly related to EA, like if you're playing a board game that you really like, to tweet about the board game or like whatever kind of nerdy thing you're doing. Except, I don't know, except like not for you, but guy, I don't know. I think video games are a terrible way to meet women, and you probably shouldn't talk too much about video games. But like, if you're doing something like explicitly useless, probably don't brag too much about it. But you might find a, you know, like maybe there's a girl who wants a gamer out there. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that you talk about astronomical timelines. Like it makes me, I am drawn to you. Like I'm constantly, and I think maybe not all women, but I think one thing about women is that we are, I think about evolution psychology like a lot, and we are evolved to sense men because our ancestors who couldn't sense men died of terrible men. And so we're constantly feeling in our body, is this man safe? Is he alive? Is he into me? And then men obviously evolve to like fabricate those feelings and like fabricate that like is another evolutionary strategy. But like I have this friend. I have a couple friends that I've done this with, and I'm just really into good at feeling feelings and intuition better than most people. And I have this friend who has this like latent anger, and we've talked about it a lot. Our house is like it's like a 24/7 therapy party. Like it's all the time. But like I have this friend who has this low key anger most of the time. And when we talk about it and then when he like lets it down, I feel in my body that he is then safe. And he goes from being someone who like isn't attractive to somebody who like I could see women being with. Like he's just, and it changes. And like there's just a lot of vibes. And if you're kind of holding stuff in and you're not aligned with yourself and you're not being kind of totally honest with who you are, women can sense that and they aren't interested. But like when you talk about debating and what you're interested in, I'm like suddenly interested. I'm suddenly paying attention to you. I'm suddenly like, I want to hear more from you. That's kind of what I'm going on.
Yeah. And I want to meet the people who are interested in that.
Yeah. She'd be lucky. She'd be so lucky to meet you.
Have debate with you
Yeah.
about whatever you're debating this week or next week, or
And she could teach you things and you could teach her things. Like it's a wonderful relationship.
I would love nothing more.
I was looking for years for like a guy who I was also selecting for intelligence, and like it's not that easy. Like you go on Tinder.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying, so there's another organizer of, she organizes one of the rationality meetups in Canada. And she told the story of like how she met her partner, and it was like she just saw the rationality groups and she was like, oh, look at all these smart, eligible men. I will join this group. And then she found a boyfriend and they love each other. So yeah. Yeah. So my point was like, to me, it seems very easy. Like if I were female, I would simply like go pick any of these people and it would be great. So I don't really understand how you find this difficult, but this is like,
Yep. So I hadn't heard of rationality before. I was more into entrepreneurship stuff. And so I was going to a lot of entrepreneurship events, which also had smart men.
something.
Yeah, sometimes some who shouldn't have been there, but like it had smart men. I just didn't like it. I didn't happen to find the right guy. But I was doing a similar strategy of like, how do you find smart guys? Where are they? And also I lived in a town that wasn't like a hub of rationality. Like it wasn't a major city. So I think maybe that also contributed to like finding less kind of smart guys. I think smart people unfortunately tend to cluster. Like you don't get a lot of the smart people I know in country towns are very lonely, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I had. But I think I wonder where, like most people I know haven't heard of rationality, but I wonder, for
Other than
instance,
our bubble.
well, our bubble, yeah, but most people that are not in our bubble. The first thing that comes up is something like Doctors Without Borders, because I know a lot of doctors, female, who are interested in Doctors Without Borders, which is kind of an EA adjacent thing. Like if you're into Doctors Without Borders, you're probably going to align fairly well with EA, and there's an intelligence cutoff there as well. Like you're going to be a certain level of intelligence. And a lot of women I know who are doctors are single and don't have time to date. Like so many women I know just like they don't date at all in their 20s because they're so busy with medicine. So I wonder if there's something like that's probably a good place for a guy to go to find smart, ambitious single women. But
what, a Doctors Without Borders meetup or like med school?
yeah, both. But like Doctors Without Borders meetup, I think. Like,
Would you go to med school?
yeah, well, you need to go to med school. No.
Would you date a doctor?
Do they even have Doctors Without Borders meetups? I mean, sure, like this genre of thing, like go to the hobbies or interests or like activities where the smart, interesting women are. This is a good idea. I'm working on it.
Or a fundraiser, like a Doctors Without Borders fundraiser. I'm sure I'm sure they have a community. I'm sure they have a big community that like organizes activities.
This is a good idea. Yeah.
Just what I'm thinking of, because you're right. The strategy is absolutely like, where do you find smart women? Like, I don't know. Smart women, I don't think tend to gather in the same rates as men. like maybe book clubs, I guess. But like where else? You've suddenly gone silent. Can you hear me? Can you talk still? Yeah, you okay.
Yeah,
You're good.
I
Okay, cool.
muted my mic so that you would not hear me typing Doctors Without Borders meetup into in the other window.
Great, amazing. A lot of smart women I know
Got to be one in New York.
are very
of all the
career
places.
focused. It's kind of hard to find them, I think. Somewhat. Do you have any? Elliot used to hold. Not saying that you need to do this or whatever, but Elliot used to hold a lot of workshops for, and I think he used to meet a lot of people from there.
Discussion groups. Go on Meetup. There's always people on Meetup. But you're specifically selecting for smarter people is
Yeah, like I used to run a lot of Slate Star Codex meetups. The problem is the meetups and events I've hosted do a great job of like selecting for intelligence, but a bad job of selecting for women.
Female, yeah, there are not a lot of.
Yeah, I don't know, start a literature meetup maybe, but yeah.
you need to pay attention to aesthetic over and you attract women with aesthetic rather than with form. So you say it's the rationality meetup and a bunch of men show up, but you say it's a fun meetup, or you show it's a fun meetup and you might get more women.
Yeah, Elliot's in a lot of spiritual stuff, so I don't think that was. He also runs slates like the rationality meetups and an occasional slate Star Codex, but it's a lot of. He did a lot of spirituality stuff, but that's not like your avenue. So it's yoga is probably good, but yeah, where do you find smart? Yeah, probably literature meetups. I mean, if that's what you're into, like, or just go to some. It is tougher. It is tougher. I think there are. I mean. It just if you look at charts, like there are fewer super high IQ women anyway, and it seems like a lot of them are just busy. Like high IQ people are oftentimes busy with their mission.
Yes, this is a problem I've noticed. The great people, of which I want to be friends with all the great people, are just way too busy doing their thing. Like they're not hanging out waiting for me to come find them. They're busy running an org, or they are, you're spending hours coding a day. You're not out there looking for people. You're spending hours coding because you're just getting shit done. So
yeah, oftentimes if they're high powered, like really just high powered people, it's like the question is more like what can you offer them to get to meet them? Like, yeah, are you providing? You'd almost meet them in like a business meeting or a fundraiser or something where they're going to get something out of it, and then. Yeah.
We're only allowed to be friends if we're also being productive.
Yeah. A lot of people are like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, that was the men's sheds are like that. There's lots of things where even Rotary, like we have to do something.
Yeah, we can't just hang out and be friends.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Whenever I talk to women about dating, it's like I tell them you need to date like it's a part-time job. Like you need to your mission is finding a husband, and you should be going on as many dates as you possibly can. Like swiping on Tinder, not just like any dude, but like if he kind of meets your like
the basic checklist.
Well, this is for women now. This isn't for Robbie. But like there are so many times when I see girls also like swiping on photos, and which is nuts to me because like I don't think, I mean, for me and a lot of women I've talked to, like attractiveness isn't, you don't really get attractiveness based on photos. Like there's so much chemistry. Like you can meet a person and they might not be conventionally attractive, but there's so much chemistry. Like you're instantly attracted to them. And then when I see women swiping on photos, it's like Tinder has kind of hacked people's brains to make them think that
bad decisions.
Yeah, to make terrible decisions. And it seems like there's a lot of guys interested in you, but they're mostly interested in just having sex with you, which is not. So, I mean, that's the main thing for women is like there are guys who will swipe on you, but they aren't interested in long-term relationships a lot of the time and they aren't compatible. So like I just tell women swipe on as many guys as you can, you think might reasonably have a chance and kind of meet your qualifications and then go on dates like multiple times a week because it's hard. If you're looking for a guy who's like in the top 1% of intelligence, 99% of guys are immediately gone. And then everything on top of that, if you're looking for
must be tall.
Yeah, must be tall. Like 14% of men are 6 foot or over. It's like, oh, you have a very small percentage of men.
Not to mention must be in the right age category.
Yeah, right age
Wait
category.
a second.
not mentally
We're
ill.
getting worse. Getting
Yeah,
smaller.
not obese. Like it just narrows down your odds so much. Like you really just want to keep like, does he want kids and is he honest? Is he honest
This is
all the
your
time?
criteria.
Is like, for me at least,
Yeah.
it was like, I was like, and it should be for everyone. Fuck, like, don't go for someone who's not honest. If you're going for someone who's not honest, they're just like, even white lies. It's like, okay, so you're signing up for a partner who will tell you that reality is not reality. And now you have to look at everything they say. You have to listen to everything they say, and you have to wonder, are they telling me the truth for the rest of your life? That's what you're signing up for. Or you could just find a partner who never lies to you. And it's like, oh, I can just trust what they say. Like, I don't need to worry about this. It's like one giant variable that I don't have to worry about. Like, that's so much more important than is he 6 foot tall? Oh my God. like, it's incredible. But I think Tinder has like really messed with our perception of how we should be dating.
Yeah, I really agree with all of that. You asked me, you said you would ask something like, why haven't you met her yet, or something like that. I think it's like I know I should mostly focus on like stuff that's within my control, but yeah, I think dating apps have like fried people's brains. Yeah.
Well, I think, yeah, dating apps have totally fried people's brains, but I think unfortunately for men, you can't, if you're not in that top X% of immediately good looking guys, you have to like immediately swipeable guys. If you don't have tons of women swiping on you, you cannot be using dating. I mean, you can use them, but like dating apps just can't be your main source.
It
of
only
meeting
takes
people.
one, remember?
It only takes one, but if you're increasing your pool, like he's doing the choir, he's going out and like the choir is great because you don't need to like cold approach women or have like amazing social skills to like bring women to you. You just kind of, they're there every week. You see them, they're familiar. You can go up and compliment her singing and like ask her how her week's been, and it's fine. Like it's easy and like
You're giving him all the moves.
yeah, no,
I know those moves already, but yeah.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
The old "How was your weekend?" But like it's the like meeting people in a place very frequently is like a really good idea. Like you just can't use it. I mean, Tinder is just not your thing. Like you just need to increase your pool of potential mates. You just need to meet as many people as possible. And a lot of guys, I think, a lot of incel-y black pill types on the internet are like, well, I can't find women because dating apps don't work for me. And it's like, yeah, no shit. You just have to go in real life and talk to women, unfortunately. And part of that, like some guys do cold approach and it works for them and that's fantastic. But like for most guys that isn't going to work. And I think the better strategy anyway is to improve your charisma and to like become a guy that talks to everyone. You have a chat with your barista, male or female. You have a chat with your waiter. You remember his name. You talk to a group of men and women, or just men, or just women, like, and just like tell a cool story.
Become a friend of many.
Yeah, become a friend of many. And then there's the one girl that you like, and you're talking to everyone else anyway, and you just talk to her. Like that's a really great strategy for just becoming a person that everyone wants to talk to and likes to talk to. But it's hard. It's not like an easy. It's a whole skill set that you have to work on if you're not. I mean, you're not like terrible socially. You're not like you don't have bad social skills. So it's not like I could see you doing this anyway. Like that was a cool story that you told, and you have interesting things to talk about. This is more like I think a lot of general advice for people who But yeah,
I want to check on. Do you have an interest in things like authentic relating, circling, personal development? Those threads
I'm
over
going to
there.
guess that he has never heard of any of these things.
I mean,
but
maybe
we can see.
Yeah,
But we'll
that's
see.
why I'm checking. Not. Well, if he hasn't heard of it, he hasn't heard of it. But if he,
I've heard of authentic relating and circling. They don't seem. I'm not particularly interested in them. I would do them if they would help, but
there's like a bubble of people who are super interested in personal development stuff. Yeah, there's like a bubble of people who are interested in that, and they like expect other people to be interested in it as well if they want to connect with them.
I am not in that bubble. Does personal development mean something specific, or is it just like working on yourself or like self-improvement?
So my sense is that some people in the world aren't working on themselves, and that is just like how they are. And everyone I know is working on themselves. in some way, shape, or form. And right, so everyone you know is kind of working on themselves. This is actually a defining feature of you and your community and the people who you want around you. In a good way, you want someone who is also working on themselves. So yeah,
Yeah, I think the personal development space that you're referencing is not just like I think there's a definitional issue error here. Like I think the way Robbie's talking about personal development is probably I would imagine in something like career focused and physical body focused, which is definitely very important parts of physical personal development. And there might be more. I might be incorrect here, but I think what Elliot's talking about is more focused on being in touch with emotions and intuition and relating deeply with other people, like being able to enter into deep conversations with other people and be very raw and vulnerable with emotions. And I think it's pretty clear to me that about 1 in 5 people don't understand the concept of what it means to feel your emotions or have an intuition, like they don't think it's real. And maybe that's more common in the rationality circles because I think there's a higher prevalence of autism. I know there's a higher prevalence of autism. Yeah, but I think what Elliot's talking about is more in-depth relating but also like, and I think, yeah, it's different types of personal development. I would assume.
I'm going down a thread towards like Teapot and towards Vibe Camp, and like, do you find yourself nearer to them or you're standoff from them?
I'm not that into Teapot. I mean, seems fine.
Yeah, no worries. Just checking. Just trying to like place you in the pantheon of clubs and societies and collectives.
Yeah. Circling, authentic relating, sure, they sounds great. If I had infinite time, or like if cure aging or something, sure, then at some point I'll get into circling. But
I mean, there's someone else who's like, I go to circling once a week, and that's not what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Gotta find my wife before I have time for stuff like circling. Like yoga can be justified because like maybe my wife goes to yoga, but like circling, I don't know. It just seems like the odds are not as good.
What about Burning Man? Have you ever looked at that scene and tried to meet?
Not really.
them? Okay, just checking.
I think Burning Man is more off
think
what
it's
he
a-
wants. Maybe
Well, that's why I'm
there's
checking,
a big
you know?
variety of
I'm
people.
trying to like, would you be willing to, if you went on a date with someone and they were like, I'm going to Burning Man, I'm traveling, I'm going away, bye. Does that ring either way for you? Is that like a slight plus or a slight minus?
It doesn't really matter. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, Burning Man
Like
is
someone
kind of
else is
orthogonal
like-
to like what I care about.
Someone else you go on a date on it with is like, I'm going skiing next month. Is that a plus or a minus? Like, I'm traveling to Europe next month. These things aren't pluses or minuses. Okay.
Traveling to Europe, that's interesting. Skiing, sure, whatever. I guess like epsilon of a plus because like you have to be in good shape and like you have to be a like person with executive function and whatnot to plan a ski trip. But I don't really care about skiing. Like it's nice, I guess.
I would imagine Burning Man is more of a not always, but there's a big drug culture associated with it. It's more of it's kind of a giant party. I mean, there is a lot of. I would imagine Robbie's less into that. Circling though, I think there's enough of a Venn diagram of rationalist girls who are into who do circling where it might be useful. But circling, I mean, Elliot's pointing you towards like the rabbit hole that Alice in Wonderland falls down. Like it's like a big, once you get if you get really into this stuff, it's like a giant cavernous thing to explore. And I it sounds like you're not interested in exploring that, which is
No, I get it's interesting in theory. If like this were not my life priority, like find my wife.
yeah.
Like if I had time for this, sure. But like, is falling down this big cavernous rabbit hole gonna like? Is my wife in the rabbit hole? Maybe, but like
The answer is maybe.
Well-
Okay, here's I'm gonna steel man the idea that your wife is in this rabbit hole, and that not only that your wife is in this rabbit hole, but the version of you that your wife wants is in this rabbit hole, and that's something different.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's true.
This isn't like a sales pitch on the rabbit hole or anything.
It's just a steel man. I'm not saying it's true. Because there are tons of girls who are just like very into very very into the layer of reality that you're into, and it's a great layer of reality to be in. And like, yeah, but like, when I was around the age of 22, I was like, okay, I'm gonna find my husband. This is like my mission, and it was like my treat it like a job. And part of that was, okay, what does a good wife act like, and how do I like figure out relationship dynamics so I will be a good wife? And there was a lot of like, it helps if you are in touch with your feelings, because you are more aligned in yourself and you are more clear on what you want and what you don't want and what makes you happy or upset. And there isn't like, if you don't do this, oftentimes you can be, for instance, angry. I could be angry. I could be like, for instance, okay, a lot of women, I'll say women's perspective just because this is what I know. Like, a lot of women nag their husbands. They're like, oh, instead of doing this, you should get a 9-to-5 job. Instead of doing this hobby. Elliot likes machines. He likes building and fixing machines. And instead I could be like, you need to get a 9-to-5 job because that's what normal people do. But actually what's happening, instead of me nagging him, what's below that is that I'm afraid of our financial future. So most women nag because they're not in touch with their feelings of being afraid. But if I were to say to him, hey, this is not real, but if I were to say, I'm afraid of our financial future, I'm really scared because I want a big family and I'm terrified that we're not going to be financially stable enough, then he takes that in a different way than you should be doing this and you should be getting a 9-to-5 job and blah, 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 blah. Like, there's just a totally different response. If I am vulnerable with my feelings and not telling him what to do, he's like, oh, that's my wife. I need to protect her. I need to make her feel good. I need to figure out a plan because I'm going to like save her. I'm going to save this. I'm going to make this better. And it's the same with men. Like, there is just a different version with men. It's instead of nagging, it might be,
There's expectations, I think.
you don't like that she talked to another guy and in a certain way. And instead of, okay, but there's these other socially, like, socially she should be able to talk to this other guy, but I'm really angry at her talking to this other guy. So I'm just not going to say anything, but I'm going to be like, but then she feels this low key anger. And maybe what's happening underneath is that you actually noticed something in her posture that indicated that maybe she liked this other guy. But instead of coming out there and being like, hey, I felt kind of jealous and I noticed this thing, instead you suppressed it and now she feels this low-key anger that permeates and you can't even explain what's going on. So like, that's just that's just an example of like why it's good to be down this rabbit hole and understand yourself so that you can communicate better. That's my steel
These
man.
communities are often into getting more sensitive and getting more nuanced into personal experience, and then therefore being able to work better and more deeply with information as it comes up for us.
Okay, this was a great pitch. Again, more convincing than I expected. I think what I need to do, or like, I think I'm already above average on these skills. And I think of all the things I should work on, this is probably not what I should spend time on. But it does sound appealing. And if I had more time, I would.
Mm-hmm.
There is so a very interesting thread on that topic. When you have a significant other, they are kind of inside your bubble of self. And so when they do nag you, it kind of hurts. It hurts more than usual because they're not just like some random stranger saying like you're ugly. They're like, the person who is very much inside the bubble. And also in on the flip side, you're inside their bubble of like self. And so when if you do a negative criticism or like a push, it lands with extra pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so like on that thread, okay. My curiosity goes to like, kind of like, in what ways are you about to be a terrible partner in someone else's bubble, or like, what are you unable to tolerate if someone is like breathing into your ear and like complaining about something? What do you think you're going to struggle with in terms of a partner?
Mm-hmm. I do hate people being late when they say they'll be at a place at a time. But no, I don't know if I have a good answer for this.
I think what I'm hearing is from you is like, and I could be wrong, so let me know. But like when you're in a partnership, you kind of represent each other and you're kind of a team and you're part of each other. So like if one person, for instance, doesn't dress well to something, it kind of represents both of you. We're like in each other's bubble. And like I wonder if there's a certain way that you would want you and your wife to both match either like interpersonally with other people or like with yourself. Like if there's I mean, do you
Do you have standards?
I'm sure he has standards.
Do I have standards like regarding what?
How you're going to act as a team, the two of you, in public?
Okay, well, just that we are a team. Like I think I have a friend. We've hung out a lot. We've gone on several trips together, like some vacations. We've gone to EA Global. By this point, we like know each other well enough that like I know what he likes and he knows what I like, and he doesn't like planning trips, but I don't mind it. And I can just like make a whole itinerary for a week and like decide all these things we'll do. And I'm taking into account like what he likes and what I like. And he like by this point he can just trust me. He can just say, Robbie, you do everything. You decide what we're doing. And he can trust me to like pick good things that we both like. Like I'm it's a values handshake in rationalist terms is like like finding the things that are in the overlap of the Venn diagram of like what I want and what he wants. And just like taking his interest into account when I'm planning it and not just like I like this itinerary won't just be like I am dragging him along to like the things I most want to do. I'm like taking both of our values into account. Like that's what I want in a marriage. Like when you love each other, you care about their happiness. Like you do things that will make them happy. And I think this is something I'm very good at. Like considering other people's preferences. Yeah.
Women, this is what you want. Listen. Okay, if you're like a trad woman, like you kind of, there's this whole idea in like this trad culture, and I'm not fully signed up to like play by play for all the trad culture because there's variation in everyone, right? But like trad women talk about this a lot, like the healthy ones, and there are a lot of unhealthy ones. But they say your husband is your captain of your ship. You're the second mate. You're not like a lowly person who gets no regard, right? You are, but he is the leader. And listen, not every man is set out to be a leader because a good leader listens to you really deeply, and he plans out life and he takes you deeply into consideration, and then he makes the calls on what to do. And that is exactly like that is such a green flag, Robbie. Like you are taking leadership and you're also caring deeply about what the other person wants so much that your friend can just trust that you will do what is in his benefit. Like that's such a noble thing to do. I'm very impressed by that.
Green flag.
Giant green flag.
Mm-hmm. Do you know Malcolm and Simone Collins? They're like kind of weird natalists. They're
Yeah, we've met them.
We've had a chat with them before.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So this reminds me of something in their book. I think The Pragmatist Guide to Relationships. So they talk about like different strategies you can use or like rules for making decisions as a couple. So they talk about some good and bad ones. One passage I like was like they're describing so if the husband and wife have disagreements, throughout the relationship, like one strategy you might use or like a rule to decide who gets what they want is just alternate. So like if you had an argument that was unresolved and you couldn't agree, and last time he got her way, this time she should get he got his way, this time go with what she wants. And this is a really bad strategy. So like the incentives are all wrong. This like encourages people to pick like petty fights about like little things and then just like forfeit, like start an argument about, I don't know, the color of the pillow over there. And then, okay, fine, I hate your pillow, but you can have it. And then, but if you agree to like go on my vacation or something, or like we'll buy the house I want, but you can have your pillow. And they talk about some better strategies. And I think the one the trad wives would like is just like assign one person everything and just because then they have no choice but to like either you take the other person's decisions and desires into account when you're making decisions. Otherwise, you'll just like get divorced. Like even this like make one person the dictator is much better than the like petty alternate arguments thing. And they have some like other ideas for like good ways to manage conflicts.
Yeah, cool. I should read it. I might.
I'm just so angry I haven't written a book yet
You should absolutely write a book.
about relationships, apparently. Is what so anyway, my new book is coming out soon about how to pragmatic guide to relationships. I hear that's a great topic.
Not the pragmatist guy,
No,
the pragmatic guy.
Yeah. No, so many theories, so many systems. The hard part around conflict is that steamrolling and caving. So we like two forces come together and we meet in a conflict. One thing to do is to steamroll. I'm like, I win. And another thing to do is to just like cave. Okay, you win. Like no matter what the conflict is, right? And both of those systems really suck. And the worst part is feeling like you are both steamrolling and caving at the same time, because it's somehow that comes before being able to get to the conflict and stay there. Like there's this like to stay there until you work out the conflict is an incredibly difficult thing to do. But if you can do that with someone, then you end up in a way better place because you can continue to resolve conflict over many fields. Anyway, yeah.
I think also your what you haven't I think if you read a book you'd go more in depth than this, but it's also like staying with it without you don't get angry almost ever. So like staying with it is pretty easy with you because you are very level-headed and stable, and we can stay in conflict oftentimes without any like major blow-ups, although emotions happen sometimes. But yeah, there's an art to actually being in conflict without being too
without the steamroll, without the cave, without other strategies like giving up, avoiding
emotional manipulation. Yeah. I am interested, Robbie, in what you think your worst quality is in a relationship.
Worst quality in a relationship. It might be related to this, like, I don't know, not advocating for myself enough, or I don't. That's not really like bad for the other person. I'm definitely like a former doormat. Would cave in a lot. Worst quality in a relationship. I'm not sure. I would have to think about that.
I think it is bad for the other person. I think it's really bad, actually.
There's this possibility that you get married and then 10 years later you realize you didn't want that, and then you have to like kill the relationship. And
that's a good point.
Your future wife is possibly terrified of this, and we'll need to figure out whether to go with it or like, does he actually want to be in this relationship, or is he just kind of a doormat?
We should talk about these things. I promise I will try not to do that.
It's not to like scare you. It's just like, this is workable. Bringing it into like to go down that thread of that rabbit hole that is the self-awareness people, the like bringing it into awareness then makes it workable or talkable or like.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't.
There is also a difference between doormat and just like chill. Like you seem to be very chill on a bunch of topics, and that's just super convenient. And there's a skill to trying to work out if there are places where you are actually have something that you care about. You're like, wait a second. This is not a doormat moment. I have a hill. There's a hill there. Yeah. Finding the actual hills, because there's lots of things that might not matter to you. You might just be chill. We can eat here. We can eat there. You can eat all sorts of spicy food. It just doesn't matter. But you got to find those hills.
Yeah, finding hills is important. I would. Oh, go on.
I would just. Do you know Oliver Haverka? He's my idol of like dying on hills. If you've heard the saga of the like. Litecoin getting criticized for buying like a $2,000 coffee table, and then he like is in the comments defending, actually this is the most economical table and here's why it saved us so much money. Cool. Just like screw all the haters.
Lee Kuan Yew, the first prime minister of Singapore, I'm reading his book right now. Incredible book, by the way, from third world to first. But he had this moment where he saw that a lot of smart Singaporean men were marrying dumb Singaporean women, and like just like or lower educated. But I mean, proxy is dumb for
There
Singapore.
was a lot of women who were unmarried.
Yeah, smart women, educated women were unmarried. So he just got up and he said, "Excuse me, men. I need you to stop marrying dumb women, and I need you to start marrying smart women, and because we need you to create smart babies." And
For the
people
future of
lost their
Singapore.
fucking minds.
He
Like,
lost 10 points in the
he
polls.
lost 12 points in the
overnight.
polls immediately. And then he got back up and he was like, excuse me, but I think you haven't seen the data. There's the Minnesota data on twin studies, and we know that IQ is heritable. Maybe you just haven't looked at the data properly.
Anyway,
And
he didn't let that go.
Didn't let
he lost his 10, 12 points in the polls, and they stayed low, just continued, and he was just like, "Nah, I'm right."
you just
Yeah, this is exactly the sort of mistake I would make. I would absolutely do that.
it was not a mistake. It was not a mistake. It
think he was
changed.
right.
It changed. He was everyone knows he was right. I mean, not everyone, but like smart people. People.
He offended
know he was
people,
right.
but he was right.
But like mistake from the purpose, like I would be a terrible politician for this reason. Like I would lose those 10 points in the polls and then another 10 points and then the next 10 points.
I don't think it was a terrible move. He was the king of long-term plays, and it seemed to have changed. I don't know if it can be directly attributed to that, but Singaporeans did start marrying smarter women over time, and I think it did. He said it caused a lot of people to talk about it and to discuss the issue, and I think because the issue was being discussed, the Overton window shifted over time, and
Maybe there was
Okay.
a way to do that, which he wouldn't have lost as many points, but
maybe you're good at that. I'm not good at that. I'm more of a
he did it.
Yeah, but he did it. And it was hilarious. I want to actually say I want to talk about how bad being a doormat is, because I think I think you're
This is a pitch.
it's worse
this
than your
is a pitch.
it's worse than your estimation. I cannot think. This is anecdotal. I know. I pay attention to a lot of relationships. It's like a hobby of mine. I don't know a single relationship in which the man is a doormat where the woman is happy with him. Women will get into relationship with doormats. They do not respect them. And unfortunately, most women are not clear. They are not aligned between their words and their beliefs. And so like we've been fed a lot of ideas as women about like how relationships are exactly equal and men and women are exactly the same. And, you know, men are just big women who have a bit more muscles. Like there's no difference mentally, and it's just not true. And like women aren't taught anymore. Who knows? But like most women aren't taught anymore that you need to date a guy who you respect, and it's good if you treat your man like he is worthy of respect and like he is a leader, and you should constantly positively reinforce him when he does good things and stuff like that. Like instead of nagging him, right? And the women I know who are more on the feminist spectrum, a lot of them will pick doormats and then just fucking resent them for years. And they'll just be stuck in like these, maybe not, oftentimes they don't get married, or even if they do, like you just see them criticizing their man and just being just unhappy with their man. Like, oh, sorry. And nobody's happy in the relationship. The guys don't like it. They're just beaten down. They're just beaten down by their women. They don't have control of their lives, and their women are unhappy. And yeah, and the
It
other
sucks.
and also like if you're a doormat, the second thing is, if you can't stand up for yourself, can you stand up for your family when you need to?
Against external forces. Do you know why? Do you have a sense of where your former doormat behavior comes from? Like, is it family? Is it high school? Is it?
I'm just like naturally very agreeable. Yeah, I think I've learned over time not to behave like such a doormat, but yeah, it took a lot of trial and error.
Yep. Okay. So let me translate what I just heard from that short sentence. Some of agreeability is super convenient and super handy. And then you learn the magic trick of over applying agreeability to areas beyond where you should have. And now it's really hard to walk back agreeability because it works in so many ways, and it's very confusing to work out what is the correct place to be agreeable and which ones are the too agreeable places. And it's harder than a habit that would be like if it was obvious in terms of feedback, because you're sometimes getting positive feedback, sometimes you're agreeable and it's just fine, and other times you're agreeable and then you're like, wait a second. It's quite a hard one to nuance because there's so many rewards. And so you're going to have to go back through various things that you're agreeable on and double check all the time until you work out the correct amount of agreeability. And then you're going to be not a doormat at all, just easy and happy, easy-go-lucky, agreeable, and then also care about things. But you got some work ahead of you.
I don't know, over the last like 8 years been doing this process of like going back and like, wait, what is the right amount of agreeable to be? Like, this email I've written sounds too nice. Okay, I'm going to reword it. Now it is like more direct and to the point. Oh, but I'm uncomfortable sending this because it like, should I be nicer? And then like I think about it and I'm like, no, this is how I should, and then I hit send. But like, yeah, it took a while.
Cool. I mean, that's in terms of in what ways is personal development happening in your life? You're doing this process of working out how to be the correct amount of agreeable. Great.
Is there any time in your life when you come into contact with conflict?
It's pretty rare.
Oh, we found it. We found the thing. Ravi, the challenge for you is to come into conflict in your life.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is.
Okay, go on.
This is maybe happened in the context of like my old job was underpaying me and I like demanded more money, which was like uncharacteristic. Nice. I had to like very consciously think about it. And I wouldn't have done it except the manager left his computer logged in and he left a spreadsheet open with like the salaries of everyone in the like all the 30 people in the office. And I saw like he was like they were kind of like, it was like a bit of cronyism. Like he went to a certain college and the people who the other employees who went to this college, like he was paying them more money than the like better employees who like didn't go to college with him. So I like, yeah, anyway, I like demanded more money and almost got fired, but like, this was the right move. Like,
good,
but it very like against my nature. I would normally just like not do anything.
Great. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah. Sometimes you have to act against your nature.
It's a learning process, personal development.
There's a spectrum between no conflict and like too much conflict. All the way over there. And I think that you're somewhere like here. Like it's not that you're like conflict a tiny bit, right? And you're like, but if I take one step to the right, I'll be over there. And I actually suspect that it's a lot further that way. Like you could stand to be 10% more conflicty, 20%, 30% maybe, but you don't know that you'll be in the middle until you actually go like 60, 70% more conflict, and then people start pushing back and you're like, oh, this is where the end is. It's over here somewhere. And it's a terrifying place to try and go to, but you won't know where the middle is until you walk back from the extreme. That's why it's a challenge, and I don't consider myself a very conflicty person, but yeah.
You're okay with, you can do conflict though. You do it
mixed.
when you need to. You're not totally averse to it.
That's true. Anyway,
Tim
like
Ferriss.
you might be all the way up this end over here, and like needing to like go to at least the middle.
Tim Ferriss has this exercise where he says when next time you get a coffee, ask the barista for a 10% discount, and don't say it's my birthday or anything like that. Just say, can I have 10% off? And sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no, and it's fine either way. It's fine. But a lot of times you just get 10% off.
I would never do that. Oh my god, that's a good exercise.
Yeah, they might. I mean, I think the worst you'll get is like, no, but you can have a free marshmallow or something. Like,
yeah.
No, it's no. What happens is you get 10% off coffee, but you're mortified. You die. That's socially unacceptable. You're exiled from society. Was that worth it for 50 cents off coffee?
The barista calls the head of society and says, "You need to get rid of this guy."
Yes,
he's breaking the social contract.
10% off.
It can't be done. Prison, immediate prison.
They'll revoke your society membership.
Right. I think we found the side of Robbie that he's working on.
I haven't done it with coffee. I do it with larger purchases like clothing a lot. Like if I'm in a clothing store and we buy a couple $100 worth of stuff, I'm just like, oh, can I have 10% off? And a lot of times they'll say yes. It's no problem. They don't care. Yeah, it's easy. Anything like a camping store or anything like that, they'll oftentimes give it to you. They don't care. They're being paid whatever you do. Like especially if they're not getting commission, they don't care. Button, press 10% off. Yeah, it's easy. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, there's the challenge. The struggle for Robbie in life is walking back agreeableness into, and you can work out how you're going to play with this challenge. But
have you read No More Mr. Nice Guy?
I think that might be on my reading list, but no, I haven't read it.
It's good. He also has. I interviewed him on my podcast a little while ago. His book doesn't showcase how good he is with people. Like when I talked to him, he's such a good listener and he's so good at interpersonal dynamics. It really is fantastic to watch him like on my podcast, or like there's an episode he does on, not an episode, there's a lecture he does about, it was called like How to Pick Up Women. And it was about like kind of what I said before about approaching women versus just being a center of gravity. And it was just a really fantastic episode to listen to. Most things by him are great. But yeah, No More Mr. Nice Guy. If you feel like you're a little bit more of a pushover in life, just for people in the audience, I highly recommend it. It's a good book. Very good book.
The other one, there's another book titled When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. And I found that one was very good for a particular type of negotiating strategy, where you just, say, this is what I want, and then receive a pushback and excuse of various forms, and then you say, this is what I want. And then you just do that until you get what you want, or you get a solution.
That one was good for autistic people too, because it had a lot of scripts.
Yeah.
And then you can just kind of read like directly what
you kind of learn through scripts.
Yeah.
All right. Final questions for Robbie? Or...
Any final questions for us? Any final statements?
What have we missed anything? This is the when I AI engineering prompt, I'm like, what have I missed in my previous questions? I'm like, Robbie, what have we not included in your profile yet?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm gonna edit the profile. So if I think of anything, I'll let you know. But
can you edit it to include I am giving $100,000 to the first person to the person who finds me a wife? Can you write that up in the like right at the beginning? Because that makes it more shareable.
So is that a good idea, or is it like people can read it as desperate, which is like.
I think desperate is like around 1,000. This is like no, I'm taking this seriously sort of number.
Yeah, I don't think it's desperate. I think it makes it viral. It makes it more shareable, way more shareable.
In terms of virality.
Yeah.
And like you can just.
I'll think about that.
I don't see it as desperate. I see it as a man who has calculated his investments and decides that a wife is a great investment.
Yeah, even that thing you said earlier. I would rather have a wife than win $2 million in the lottery, and so I'm putting up $100,000.
Oh wait, okay. What I want in a wife? Okay, so there was this. I value smart and thoughtful. Okay, so there was this like back of the envelope calculation I've done at some point, which is like I decided my quality of life is like much better when I'm not single. I would rather like be happily married than win $1 million. How many dates are you going to go on in your life? Like first dates, like probably less than 100, right? So then every first date is worth like $10,000 at least. So all these arguments about like who should pay on a date are stupid. Like it doesn't matter. You should both be like fighting each other to like, no, let me pay for it. There are some holes, or like there are some counter arguments. I want to meet someone who can tell me what's wrong with this argument and steelman it, and then like come up with a like compelling case for whatever her opinion is on it. Like, is this right? Is a first date actually this valuable? Is it not? I mean, I could give you some reasons why not, but like, I would like to hear your thoughts on this. Not maybe yours, but like
Yeah.
my wife's thoughts on this.
Yeah, I like. Well, that's a specific
That's
type of girl
great.
you're looking for. That's a specific girl you're looking for. Is a girl who can give you her opinion and isn't afraid to give you her opinion and intellectually, not necessarily spar. I don't want to say like spar,
Play.
but like play, like intellectually play with you in that realm. That's important. I actually wanted to touch briefly on. I didn't even think of this, but a couple things. What is your love language? Do you have one?
Ooh, it's on there. It's I like words of affirmation, quality time, and physical touch. I'm very much not into, or like, um, I don't really care about gifts or what's the other one? Acts of service. Like, you don't have to wash my dishes, and like, I don't care if I get Christmas presents. Like, if my wife's love language is presents, I'll give her presents. Like, I'd be happy to. But it's just not that important to me.
Great. And then the second question I have is maybe a little bit longer, but I want to know a little bit more about your stance on finances. Do you budget? Are you interested in investments? You don't have to tell me what your investments are, obviously, but like, do you have a plan for budgeting and investing in the future? Do you have a on credit? Like, do you have something you would like your wife to? Do you need to agree with? You probably don't want a wife who takes out 30% per annum credit cards and goes shopping. Like, what are you looking for in a wife, and what is your ideology financially?
Yeah, this is probably going to be pretty boring. I don't know. I could tell you my investment strategy or something.
Boring is good for investing usually.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I invest in index funds, except so I want to hedge against the possibility of AI automating jobs that use the skills that I have. So, I mean, I've invested in like a semiconductor ETF, SOXX. It's like a semiconductor industry index. Seems like buying Nvidia is like a good strategy to like if AI really takes off and all of the programmers go out of business. Yeah, data science is like one of the first things it will do. So I better at least have some investments in that case. I'm kind of frugal. I like taken the Giving What We Can pledge, so I save a lot of money and then like donate at least 10% of it. I don't know how credit scores work in Australia, but I always pay my credit cards on time. Let's see. Mm, I think I don't have any debt. Um, that would, yeah. I mean, if she like has student loans, I guess that's fine. Um, I guess I value responsibility. So like, this is like related to honesty. If you say you'll be somewhere at a certain time, you should show up then. And like, if you borrow money from someone, you should pay it back. These are like basic decency, I think. I guess disturbingly many people don't do this, and that's not for me. But yeah. Um, yeah, at work we talk a lot about like how should we invest to like navigate the scary AI future. Yeah, there's been a lot of like EA forum posts about that, but so I think about that sometimes. But yeah,
Are you would you ever invest in? Yeah, boring is good. Sounds good. Would you ever invest in real estate?
I don't think real estate is like a good investment. Like, why would it be? Like, I mean, oh, do you mean like would I buy a house? Sure. I don't think there's any benefit to. No, I would not want to invest in real estate as opposed to like some kind of financial instrument. Like, I think the return is just worse than stocks unless you're living in a house. So, not really.
Great. Okay, green flags all around. Sounds good.
You're judging me on my investment advice. Okay.
No.
Well, I
No,
mean,
think it's good.
I don't totally agree with
I
you on
think
the real estate thing,
the
but I think
difference
like
between yeah.
investing in index funds is generally like I think you're hedging against a future where you don't have a job. So either way, you're winning. That's fantastic. index funds are generally what smart people, the people I know who are high frequency traders invest in index funds. Like that should tell you something about index funds. You have a budget, you believe in paying your credit off. I mean, these are all green flags, and you're asking, you want a stable woman who is a functioning member of society and doesn't do things that hurt society as a whole. So yeah, fantastic. Like that's a green flag. That's really nice to hear.
I see property versus index funds as different investing philosophies, and some people are like index funds do better returns, and other people are like, well, actually, property over a longer time period does a better return. Like they're just different opinions.
Yeah, they're different.
And depends on which property and which areas and which I mean, but like also in more recent time, index funds have done better than property. Whereas historically property did better than index.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't swing either way on that. The fact is you've thought about it, and that gives you like bonus points in the like being and having a financial plan. Rather than not having a financial plan or not having savings or not investing at all, which is, so many steps further back down.
Yeah, I hope my wife has thought about this, or I'm pretty sure she will have. Like someone who doesn't, okay, I hope.
Yeah, you need a certain standard as well. Like someone who has a real problem with spending is probably less suited to you, I would imagine. But good to know. All right, I am happy. Ladies, line up to go on dates with Robbie. Where can they find you? Where should they look for you?
Should they email you? Should they?
Yeah, email is probably the best way to. I'll always see emails. You can message me on Instagram. I guess it's linked in the Date Me doc. Let's see. I'm very easy to find on the internet.
Do you want to say your email handle or
Like
your
Google your
Instagram or
name,
anything like
or-
that? They might not look at the doc, is the thing.
Like when you go viral and someone tries to Google your name, they'll just see a bunch of articles with your name. So they need some sort of contact detail. Instagram?
Robbie Rahman 94, ROBIRAHMAN 94. That's my Instagram username, and that at gmail.com is my email.
Great. Fantastic. All right. Please
Thank you.
write up some sort of contract on how the 100K is distributed if there's multiple people. That would be a great idea.
She's vying for it.
I'm just hoping to save you a lot of pain, a lot of pain and grief. But yeah, ladies, if you have a single friend out there and
Who is nerdy,
she keeps
likes
talking about this AI stuff, she keeps talking about malaria nets for some reason. Look, just get her in touch with Robbie. Just you need to do it. You'll be the best. You'll be the maid of honor at her wedding. It'll be fantastic.
It'll be a nerd themed wedding.
It'll be a nerd themed wedding. There'll be debates at the wedding. There won't be wedding speeches. They'll just debate AI timelines. It's going to be boring, but there will be champagne. It's fun. Look,
the priest will say, if anyone knows a reason why these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace. And people will be like, well, probably, but on the other hand.
I'm going to steel man one side. And then, I don't believe this, but I'm just going to steel man it. Yeah. Great. Fantastic. All right. See you later, Robbie. Thank you so much for coming on.
Bye. Thank you.